How's it going, everyone? I've got a treat for you today. Thanks to the lovely people at Guillotine Agency, I was able to get my hands on the upcoming JRPG Clair Obscur Expedition 33, developed by Sandfall Interactive and published by Kepler Interactive, whose portfolio includes the Cat Quest series, Sifu, and Pacific Drive. After playing for close to 10 hours, I feel like I've gotten enough experience with the game to let you know if this is something you should be ready to check out when it releases tomorrow. So sit back and buckle up, because I promise this is going to be one heck of a ride. Firstly, we have to go over the story a bit. Now, I was asked to avoid narrative spoilers. Curious to know what those may be, they had a checklist, and yeah, I had a major spoiler ruined for me, and I totally understand where they're coming from. Given that I haven't quite reached that spoiler in my own playthrough, I believe you really shouldn't have to worry about me spoiling anything for you, but trust me, it does sort of help to know what exactly is going on, because you're absolutely just thrust into this world. Piecing this world together was a task and a half, but slowly this story starts to unfold before you. 67 years ago, before the start of this story, something happened. Well, I know it's really specific, but I honestly haven't gotten to that part yet, so I don't really know exactly what caused this to happen, but what you do know is that there's this almost deity-like entity called the Paintress, who once a year changes a giant countdown by 1. Each tick of this countdown sees every single person who has passed that age cease to exist. With the pending extinction looming overhead, the town rounds up an expedition force to send each year to try and stop the Paintress. As we enter the story, 67 years of unsuccessful voyages have made those in their early 30s the oldest around, and we follow Gustav and the crew of the Expedition 33 as they set sail to try and stop the Paintress from painting more death. As you set out, you're given the ability to basically free roam within some sort of biome. These biomes will have different enemies, with the main ones being the Nevrons, which kind of take different forms depending on where you're at. The environment in the biomes isn't really fully open world, because it kind of guides you towards the exit or the goal. However, there are several hidden paths that reward you with various bonuses and even a few encounters, although you should be careful how quickly you round those corners, because you may run into something like this. The level design is made in such a way that makes you want to explore the environment because it's stunning, and you can spend a lot of time just interacting with the locals whenever you do get to a place that's relatively safe. There are some puzzles that can be solved in order to obtain extra items to use during and after battles to heal and revive party members, with one key aspect being that the number of those items you have will reset to the max amount that you've unlocked each time you reach what is essentially the equivalent of a bonfire in this game. There are many signs of inspirations from various sources, but there is a ton that you can see being borrowed from the Souls-like genre, whether that be the bonfire-like flags where you can rest, which resets the enemies you've beaten, to unlocking shortcuts, and a challenging fighting system in which you must be able to react appropriately to your enemies' attacks. Speaking of, let's get into the combat for the game. At first, it seems like it's going to be the normal formula of a JRPG, however, there are so many intricacies it really makes the combat engaging. There's your normal set of skills that you must make the most out of in combination with a variety of weapons at your disposal that you can upgrade. When attacking, each player is given a set amount of action points that can be used to activate the skills, but also allows for the player to shoot at a specific weakness that the enemy has, which costs 1 action point per shot. On top of these attacks and skills, you get access to Pictos, which are like passive buffs that can reward you with various benefits. If you use these Pictos for long enough, those benefits can be applied to any member of your party through Luminas. These allow for all of your party members to benefit from them, like having the ability to shield themselves if they fall below 50% health. Each of these Luminas have a value assigned to them, and you get Lumina points equal to the character's level to assign however you see fit, with no penalty for changing whenever you want. You can even gather resources around the world to grant characters even more Lumina points to spend on possessing more passive abilities. By having to master each Pictos first, the game incentivizes you to change your loadouts and inevitably helps you discover combinations for you to exploit later on down the road. So in combination of all that's going on, hopefully you can use your turn to the fullest effect. But now that your turn's over, it's time for the enemy to take their turn. During this time, enemies who attack you can actually have their attacks parried or evaded, with the timing of parries being a little bit more precise, so generally dodging is better at first so that way you can learn the attack patterns. However, if you're able to successfully parry all the attacks, you can counterattack the enemy. Now, I'll admit that I kind of struggled with some encounters because the timing of my dodges were a bit off, and it almost felt like there were some attacks where the computer was kind of almost pump faking you, but the combat was still a really enjoyable and rewarding experience. In between all the combat, the story unfolds through what can only be labeled as phenomenal voice work and stunning visuals. This game is absolutely star-studded with the likes of Charlie Cox, who's best known for the Daredevil TV series, Jennifer English from the recent mega hit Baldur's Gate 3, and even the Lord of Motion Capture, Andy Serkis. Each voice actor is well represented by the character they're portraying. I mean, besides Maxence Quazorla and Rich Keeble. You can really see that a lot of work went into making these characters come to life, and the emotion behind the performances is definitely worth noting.
You and I... Come on, we always said the future of Lumiere is more important than
any individual life, yes.
Do you still believe that? Do you still believe that? Do you?
Phenomenal voice acting isn't the only aspect of creating a meaningful story, as without some sort of ambiance to the setting, everything would just feel off. But once again, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 seems only interested in bringing its A game, as the soundtrack is mesmerizing. The gentle melodies juxtaposed against the destruction and doom of the world meld beautifully. While the combat music is vibrant and unique depending on the enemy you are facing and the biome you inhabit.
I'm ready.
It's hard to believe that this game started off as a solo project and has grown into such an astounding experience. This is where I would normally give my opinion on things I didn't care for, like the issue with lip syncing. However, the devs have noted that there's going to be a day one patch to fix a lot of these issues.
After 4 years apart, what do I say to her on the day of her gamage?
You're asking me? I don't know. Sun's about to set, so be direct.
I only brought up the lip syncing issues because it did start to distract me a little bit, especially in the early game. However, most cutscenes didn't seem to have this issue. I will also say that while it's not obviously game breaking in any way, you will never have to worry about an escort mission taking too long because... All in all though, I have genuinely been impressed with Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and this is coming from someone who doesn't generally play JRPGs. There is so much more I want to talk about, like the cosmetic unlocks that you can have that add a bit of humorous element to the game during cutscenes, but I do believe that this is something where the less you know, the more impactful the experience will be. The devs estimate that the story will take about 30 hours to complete, however with all the extra stuff that there is to do, it will likely double that playtime, so make sure to pick up Clair Obscur Expedition 33 when it releases tomorrow. But with that, that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another.
Even if we fail, we lay the trail for those who will come after. Right? We are Expedition 33.
I'd like to thank the folks at Guillotine Agency again for letting me have this opportunity to cover this fantastic game. I also want to thank Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamikolo alongside all those subbed to the channel. I may be a bit more sporadic with releases of videos if more opportunities like this pop up, so make sure to sub to the channel if you don't want to miss out. But either way, I will see you soon.